Hey,
Hey.
it seemed like once again it is a long time till Tuesday.
I know, but we here, girl. We here.
Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm.
I am just about to share this video, and you guys, if you're gonna be tuning into this later on, make sure you share the video and smash the like button for us, please.
And subscribe, please. And tell a friend to tell a friend,
Tell a friend to
please.
tell a friend to tell a friend. Oh man, what are you drinking on tonight?
Well, tonight I'm just sipping on a little bit of you know, something to mellow me out. Maybe some wine.
I'm sipping on some wine too. I'm sipping on a rosé that I don't like. I
Mm.
grabbed this bottle by mistake, thinking I picked up something else. No, what happened was I picked up the right thing, and then in the midst of browsing the store, I put it down for a minute to pick up other bottles to look at them.
Mm-hmm.
And I must have thought I picked it back up, but I didn't. So I get back to the house. I'm like, why is this my receipt saying like I spent $30 when I know that it didn't cost that. I bought this expensive bottle of rosé. And
Mm.
I don't really like those because I need something sweet, but I'm gonna drink it.
Oh no, I'm a dry wine drinker,
Oh
so
no.
I
Mm-mm.
love it. I feel like when the palate matures with wine, then you can drink the dry wine. And the drier the wine, the higher the alcohol content, right? So I like Merlots, Cabs, Malbecs. And you should drink them through a straw so
Oh
that it
really?
doesn't stain your teeth. Yeah.
Oh, I
Mm,
did not know that.
mhm. And a little bit of red wine is actually good for the heart.
Yeah, yeah, I heard that. I know that much. Um, no, I can't do the dry wine though. I don't. My mom like dry wine. I am not a dry wine fan at all.
Well, when you discover yourself, you discover what you like, don't you?
You do, and I have always liked the sweet stuff, or like semi-sweet. It don't have to be sweet, sweet, but a little bit where I can taste what's actually in the bottle. Like they say, oh, crisp. This has crisp apples, and you're gonna smell strawberry, and I don't taste none of it. I need to taste a hint of it.
You know what? We need to go on a wine tasting. I'm gonna need to expand your palate. You ever been
Mhm.
on a wine tasting?
Yeah, actually, I did. I went to a local winery. We got lit at that, like just from them little cups. Oh man. I tasted so many wines, and I have still determined that I am not a dry wine fan. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, hey, we work on you. I'll work on you.
So, as y'all can see tonight, we are talking about the journey of self discovery.
Hmm.
Okay. And doing the work. Um, do you want to start it off?
Well, how many of us women can say that we know ourselves? And I'm not talking about knowing the background of your family or the background of your race. I'm talking about knowing what you like, knowing what makes you happy, knowing what makes you feel fulfilled, and knowing how to achieve those things for yourself and not looking for those things in others, looking for the things that you need for you, and not feeling like it's selfish to do so. That's what we're going to
Mhm.
be talking about tonight. How do you find what you love? How have you rediscovered yourself, like after major towers that may have came in your life, or uprooting and different things that may have happened, or triumphs that have helped you decide learn yourself more. So I think those are things that I think of when I think about self-discovery. I just think about my personal journey, because that's where it needs to start for everybody, your personal journey.
Definitely.
So
Um, yeah, one thing, all of that, what you said, and the one thing that you did say, doing things for yourself and not feeling selfish about doing it is a major key component to going on this journey, because far too often, especially, we just feel guilty for wanting to tend to yourself. You feel like, oh, I feel so guilty for wanting to take this time for myself. I feel like I'm being selfish. I feel like I'm taking away from, and it makes you feel bad for saying that you need this for yourself and advocating for yourself and honoring what you need.
Mhm.
And that is something that is hard for a lot of us, especially as women, I think, because we're the nurturers. It's hard for us to break away from the habit of not feeling that guilt or the burden of trying to appease other people and just doing for self.
Yeah, and I think that us women, especially if you're a mother or you're a wife or you're an employee, you're a boss, you're a worker, whatever it is, I feel like sometimes we get lost in that. And you start taking care of everything and everybody else before you do anything for yourself. And the
Hmm.
next thing you know, you're facing sickness, and I don't just mean physical sickness, it could be exhaustion of the mind, mental
Hmm.
illness, and different things that we don't just sit back and just have self care moments.
You'll beat yourself into the ground. I feel, and as a whole, in general, Black women are fucking exhausted already enough. We are tired, and not a lot. I know a lot of us don't get those moments to have self care. Those moments where you get to be you, you get to be you. See, I get to be Aya. We get to be carefree. We get to be back to ourselves instead of constantly playing roles, especially, as you age and with parenthood comes responsibility and you have to go out into the world and present yourself a certain way. So you don't get those moments to identify with yourself and to connect with yourself as much as you used to. And I think for me, I've always been conscious of that in a way. And I think because, us knowing each other and you know me and other people that know
Mhm.
my mom, my sister, whatever, I've always gotten the label of being selfish, or you're so self-centered, or you're self-absorbed, or you're selfish, you're selfish, you're selfish. Even though I feel like that could only be to a certain level or be to a certain extent, because at the end of the day, I did have kids. I have to do what I have to do as well. I have to take care of them.
Mhm.
But I've always, and I don't know if it just came from watching and like, because, being the quiet person in the room, it leaves a lot of time for observation. So just watching the surroundings and the goings on and the goings down of people in my life, I just always been cognizant and aware of the fact that if I don't take care of myself, nobody else is. And that is
Mhm.
like a big major key to self-care and to your mental health and your for your own mental sanity is that you have to be mindful to honor yourself and to make sure that your needs are met in some capacity. As hard as it may be, and on some small level, you have to make sure you check in and do those check-ins with yourself.
Yeah, you do. I think one of the things that I would say, you have to realize when you have reached a point where you are exhausted with life.
Mm,
And a lot of us just push through. They just push through, push through, push through. Well, I got to be strong. I got to do
mm,
this. I have to do that. Well, guess what? Burnout is a real thing.
mm,
Burnout is a real thing. It is something that, a lot of us try to ignore before and then it's too late by the time you realize that you are just totally and completely burnt out. And now you're facing all types of crises within yourself. um I could think of one time, like with me, when I realized that I had totally lost my identity in caring for others, was when I found myself in a co-parenting situation, with my children. The first time they left for a week,
Mhm.
I was going crazy. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, what am I going to do? My babies are gone. I don't have nothing to do. Oh gosh, I was in here like tripping, like until I talked to some friend and I'm complaining. They're like, listen, are you serious? This is the time for you to figure out, what do you love? What do you like to do? What did you always want to do and you didn't have a
Mhm.
babysitter? You know, I feel like there's mothers these days, they go on vacations and all you thinking about is what you need to do for your kids or what you need to do when you need to get back. And you know what?
Mhm.
It is not selfish, ladies, to do things for yourself. Write it down. Put it on a post-it on the mirror when you wake
I
up.
think I could be the CEO of that. There's a saying, and it's metaphorical, okay? Don't take the saying seriously, but you got a select few that's team fuck those kids, okay? We are team F those
Uh,
kids all the way, okay?
mm-mm.
Because you got to do what's best for you. I remember when I went on my first trip, right? I went to Jamaica. So the kids had to be, they was little. Um, I went on my first trip and I was telling people I was all excited. I was in this one group and I was telling people, and it was this lady, and she was like, how she could never do that. And I was like, why? And she's like, I got kids. And I was like, oh, okay. I got kids too. Like, why you can't go on a trip? And she said that because when you have kids, I feel like you devote yourself to raising your kids, and then once they're out the house, then that's when I get to do things. And I was just like, that's a long bid to not do anything, to not have any life experiences, to not go out, to not party, to not go to events, to not go traveling because I have the kids. No, no, ma'am, no. So yeah, I do. I take my trips as long as those kids is provided for, taken care of, healthy and happy. Then you are doing your job as a parent. If you need your time,
Mhm.
if you want to go get that manicure or pedicure, if you see that dress that's cost $150, $200 and you want to get it, and y'all good on my end, I'm handling business, go do something nice for yourself.
Right. Um, I think one of the things that we have to understand is that if you don't care for yourself, you can't care for others.
Mm,
You
right.
can't be the best person you could be for your children, for your man, your husband, for for that mother or the family member that you're caring for. So, my question, right, is what are some things that you could do for self-care, like, and to love yourself? Because you know what? Self-love is lacking in a lot of us Black women.
It is, it is, it is. Because we have been taught to be the worker bees. We have been taught to put everything and just put it on your back, take on all the stress, take on all the burden. And yeah,
Mhm.
be that strong, be that strength. And it's like we need air to breathe. like
We
we
do.
like what are we living off of? Like gas, fumes, like how are we surviving? How is our mental state when we
Mhm.
have those beliefs that we have to take on everything and we never get to be mindful of ourselves?
Right, right. And I think that one of the things that is lacking is also you know, just even if you're not doing anything, everything don't cost money. I mean, just having a moment to yourself where you just sit in your emotions, when you just decompress from your day and just let it all just air out. You know, just sit there and just, if you need to cry, go ahead and cry, girl.
Yeah.
If you need to scream, go ahead and
Let it
scream, girl.
scream.
You know what I mean? If you need to get on the phone and vent it out with your best home girl,
Mhm.
do that too. That's
Vent it out.
therapy.
It is.
Therapy.
So you know what I do? I mean, what I do, I used to, well, listen to music. Listening to music was always my release to vent out things. Music can put you in a space or a zone or whatever the case. If I'm feeling melancholy or sad or depressed, you can put on that certain artist or that certain playlist. I would make
Mhm.
playlists and just listen to the music. So I know I did that a lot. I still do, like when I'm in my car and I'm jamming, I like my music a lot. What else? Having conversations with the bestie or writing things out and writing them down, or scheduling you a day of self-care if you can, going to the spa, just having your personal alone time. Because for me, the key is you spending time with you, having your personal time. So if that's you taking care of yourself, going to the spa, going to go get your manicures or your pedicures done, going to go get a massage,
Ooh, a
um,
massage. Ooh, yes.
maybe have a night in, when the kids will be gone, which is hard now. For they're rarely ever out of the house, but when they used to go for the weekend, like their dads used to come pick them up or whatever, I would have my whole evening planned out. Like I was like, okay, they leaving. So let me see. I would go get the bottle of wine. I would have my tunes on YouTube ready to go. And whatever. Like I would have me some nice food to eat and just make it like a whole little self-care session in my living room. The lights might be out. I might have some incense going, some candles. Like set the ambiance for yourself
Mhm.
and unwind, do what you need to do.
And I love one of the nice things about my self-care days is, a mellow night would be have a Netflix and chill with yourself. Okay. I love a good binge watch. I
Mm,
mean, just curl up on the couch, get you some popcorn or order Uber Eats or get you something real delicious to eat and sit there, eat your food and watch just whatever the show is. I remember the last one I just enjoyed just binge watching whatever show, you know. Um, and we also talked about like, maybe just doing like a hobby that you love to do. I like to paint, so and draw. So sometimes I have found time to do that, or maybe you want to read a book. These are things that you have to do to just be with yourself. Because how many people are really comfortable just sitting with themselves?
not too many. Or
You
you
ain't gotta
always
have
that
nobody.
person that have to have somebody around, or you bored, or I'm busy, I don't got no friends, I need somebody house to go to, who want to go out, who want to do this, blah blah blah. I mean, if you can't deal with yourself, then that's a key indication that you need to start navigating and start exploring yourself and dealing with yourself.
Yeah, because some people don't want to sit with themselves. They don't want to think. They don't want to hear what's going on in their head. And I think that sometimes that is a healthy thing that you need to do is just sit there and have a moment of self-reflection.
Self-reflection, yes. Yes, like, and that's hard to do. I think like once I moved back to Syracuse, and it was like so much, so much. If it's like one era, one moment of my life that was so trying and that tried me more than anything else was that Georgia era. Like Georgia did me in. And so when I got home, when I got back here up north, and it was just like I knew like I had a lot that I needed to unpack. I had a lot that I needed to work on and address. And you kind of the indicators for me anyways, and how you can kind of tell that you have a lot of stuff that you need to unpack and unload and heal from and all that, right? It's because it's always bothersome. It's bothering you. It's nagging you. It's on your shoulder. It's on your back about it. It's in your head about it. Or, I could see that certain person or somebody can be telling me something, and for whatever reason what they're telling me is triggering me because of some stuff that I have been going through. And so it's just like on repeat, and it's over and over and over again, right? And then you might
Mhm.
be feeling away and you don't feel your happiest, you don't feel your best. You always feel sad or depressed or angry. Mine was like the anger and the resentment and the revenge. Like I wanted revenge. I wanted to get payback. And that will eat you up. That will eat you
Mhm.
apart to want to seek that. Um so I kind of knew like, yeah, I need to address this so I can get over it. Cause I don't like feeling funky for too long. Like I would rather go through the uncomfortableness and the pain of doing what I need to do so I can get over it than sit there and let it fester and simmer and brew. And so that's really what I did was like you have to really address
Yeah, she froze up on us, but you have to really address those issues that you feeling. And I think some of us try to bury it and keep it going because you have no choice but to keep it going. But that's a good
Mhm.
point. Self-discovery can be self-healing.
Mm, yes.
A lot of us don't take time to heal from our traumas, our childhood traumas,
Mm,
relationship traumas,
mm.
family, all types of trauma, work issue traumas that have traumatized you, because it's not easy as a Black woman going out here into this world working either.
It definitely isn't. That's a traumatic experience for me. Like I wrote that long post on Facebook and stuff because it was like, you come across new things and stuff. And I came across like what a microaggression was. Now, maybe my slow behind should have known what microaggressions are. But when I heard it explained in a way that I understood, I was just like, yo, like all my work life, this has happened to me. And that
Hmm.
junk was so triggering and it infuriated me in that moment because I could go through all of the instances in my life, work life, that has happened.
Hmm.
I'm determined more than ever now to never place myself in those work environments again.
Just as much as they interview you, you need to be interviewing the workplace that you're working at. I know you got to do what you got to do these days, but I'm just saying those microaggressions that is really a thing. And it can really mess with your mindset and your psyche. And it's something that is another thing. After you come from a hard day of work and you've been dealing with all these microaggressions and all these people attacking you from different angles, and sometimes it comes from our own people too.
Mm, mm,
And it's like that's another thing for people. That's another reason why you have to have self-discovery and self-healing, because those type of things will completely consume you, and you start having those feelings in bad relationships or things that have happened to you, wanting revenge, just dwelling, you know um just soaking in your anger and despair and misery, worrying and stressing yourself into physical illness.
mm, right.
We got to stop doing that. I know it's easier said than done,
Yeah.
but you really have to take care of yourself, because if you don't do it, nobody will.
Definitely, because mental can definitely turn into physical, like where you just sick all the time. My back hurt, and I was reading something in this book that I was reading, and it was saying that a lot, like for a lot of Black women, we carry our stress in our back. And it's so funny because it's like your back hurt, your neck always tight and tense. And it's just like you always in
Hmm.
pain, or, somebody always got a irritated or sick stomach, or, I can't eat right now. I don't feel like eating nothing. Like that's that stress and that's that trauma and that stuff that you need to address a lot of times over it just being a sickness.
Right. So some of the best medicine that you can take can be some self discovery. Sit
Mm-hmm.
back and live in gratitude. That's a mindset you truly can overcome some of the most. worrying things that happen in this world, some of the most stressful things that happen in this world, like living in gratitude. I'm telling you, I have to do it every day. In my personal life, I have to do it every day. When one thing hit me, bam, something else hit me, bam. I could worry myself sick every day over things that I have had to go through. However, I have to sit up, look up, and say, hey, I got a roof over my head. I'm
Mhm.
so grateful. Check. I got a job. I'm so grateful. Check. I have my health. I'm so grateful. Check. My children, they may act up from
Mhm.
time from here and there, but they are well and I'm striving. Check. So you know what? Self-discovery and self-healing can just be trying to live in gratitude for the things that you do have instead of look at what you're lacking.
Right. That's
Hmm.
a good one. Self living in gratitude. I think I'm going to definitely take that lesson. So whenever I feel frustrated as well, try to just acknowledge something that I am gracious for. I have gratitude and thanks for that I can acknowledge right then and there. That'll be like an instant mood booster. Well, you know what? Yeah, you know what? Let me just calm down because at least I have this at the end of the day. That's a good lesson to take away.
It reminds me of the battery. It has the negative charge and the positive charge.
Hmm.
When every negative, hit it with a positive. You know, oh, I'm telling you, that has got me through some very dark days because I can't tell you how I could have worried myself sick. Thank goodness I don't look like what I've been through. But I will tell you that I really, really feel like, you know, that gratitude attitude can get you through some dark days. It can get you through some trying times in your life. It can get you through some things that you thought you would never be able to get through. But if you sit there and you just dwell and you just soak in that pain and you let it go through your veins, like you said, Aya, it can cause physical illness. And then you're wondering why, oh, people are saying they have this ailment or this or that in your neck, or your back hurt, and you having muscle spasms. Like one of the things that I had was going on with me was I have TMJ, and
Hmm.
it's a stress induced condition. You know, locking up your jaws and clenching when you're angry and things like that. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. If you gotta go sit on the porch and drink you some tea, I don't care what it is. Take some time to love on yourself.
Hmm. And one thing I found that helped me out, especially when it came to healing and discovering what triggers you, is like one of the key components of discovering who you are and being able to manage those things after you realize what they are. And I
Hmm.
read it in a book. It was like some years ago. I read it in a book, but the book was saying how every day you need to wake up and realize your emotions. So at the start of your day, like, and I used to have like a little pocket journal under my pillow for a while until I didn't need it anymore. But every day in the morning when you wake up and realize what you're feeling in that moment, your first emotion. So if I'm feeling happy, it's a good day. I'm a happy, when you're having a good day. Like I know I'm about to go out here and kill it. I'm having a good day today.
Hmm.
Write it down. Write what your thoughts are, how you're feeling. Boom.
Yes.
And throughout the day, if things start to waver, our emotions are like waves. If things start to waver, make a mental note or use your pocket notebook and write them
Hmm.
down. And then if you can, write down what is it that caused that emotion to happen? What was the trigger that caused your emotion to shift from this emotion to that emotion? And through that, it helped me a lot. And I still do that. I don't need the journal anymore, but I still do that. So, like in the moment, if I know I'm having a good day, and this will also help my empathic people out there as well. If I know I'm having a good day, and then along comes Susie, right? And Susie got some stuff going on, blah, 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 blah. And now I'm all like, and now I'm feeling down or bogged down or bad or stressed or anxious, I know that, you know what, these might not be my emotions that I'm feeling. It could be hers or whatever. She might have said something that set me off and triggered me, but I can understand and realize that now a lot better and a lot easier so that you can manage them better.
That is such a good piece of advice. Having a journal under your pillow and waking up and seeing how you feel that day. I think I'm gonna do that, Aya. I've never done that. But I think that's like some self-awareness. Like,
Right.
because a lot of times I can find myself having all different types of emotions and not being able to process them or even understand why I'm feeling like that sometimes.
Mhm.
And I'll know what's making me mad, but I really don't. I can't say right now I have definite triggers on
Mhm.
exactly knowing what my different emotions are causing me at the time. So I think that's a really good piece of advice that we all could benefit from, writing in the journal how we feeling every morning. Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, if you have the time, or even if you just make a mental note, like, that's what I'm this is what I'm feeling. I don't think too many people know how important it is to sit in your emotions.
Right.
Um,
To
and
deal with them joints.
I learned that I had counseling for a while, when I was going through my divorce and different things that I was going on in my life. And that was one of the things that I learned from my counselor. She said, what you need to do is you need to learn to sit in your
Mm.
emotions. Feel it. I know it hurts.
It do.
Chest burning, eyes tearing up. But you know what? It is therapy. It is a release of those stress hormones that are in your body. And it is very healthy. It's
Mhm.
natural medicine for you.
And you have to want to work on yourself. Like that is another that's a huge factor. That's a huge part. Like you have to want to do the work. And doing the work is hard. It's hard growing up and growing into who you are as a woman. I feel like I didn't get into my bag for real until I was in my 30s. Like in the 30s. Not like, oh, I'm turning 30. Well, oh God, it's the end of the world. But like once I probably hit like 32-ish, kind of like, okay. Like I was a lot more mature. I was a lot more um grounded and ready to kind of like, let's get it together. I like, the personal tip, the personal front. And one of the main things, though, if you ever want to go on this journey of self discovery and discovering who you are, I feel like you have to want to do it. And sometimes you wanting to do it and you wanting to choose you means you're going to have to kind of knock off others. You're going to have to kind of say, you know what? I'm going to have to fall back from y'all because I'm kind of doing this over here for me. So that means it's not no room for you at the moment or maybe permanently, who knows? But you need to take a step back from others that you know aren't benefiting you for what you're trying to do in the moment so that you can focus on what you need to do.
Um, that is that's really a good point. I mean, I think that when you do start discovering yourself, if you've been the type of person that you're always caring, you're always doing for others, you're always there for everybody else, let me tell you, they're gonna be mad. They're gonna be
Yeah.
mad. But there's no guilt in that, because before you know it, you'll look up and you will have completely lost yourself
Mm.
in everything that you're doing for other people.
Lose yourself in other people, definitely. You could lose yourself in all kinds of relationships, not just a love relationship. You could lose yourself in relationships with your friends, your family, or the person that your spouse that because you're so entangled and engulfed and wrapped into what they're doing, what they want, what they need, or you are caught up in the expectations of others, and that will kill us because you can't live for other people. And even if it's like a parent or a parent figure, or your, the elders of the family, they be having chokeholds on us, child, especially in in the black community. The
Mhm.
elders be having a chokehold, baby. Like, listen, I can't live for you. I gotta kind of live for me and do my own thing. I can't live up to or meet other people's expectations. I need to meet and exceed my own that I have for me, my goals and what I want and what I need. I can't, you can't do it for everybody.
It, that you can't do it for everybody. I know Big Mama wants you to go over here and do that, and then your daddy needs you to go drive him to go get his teeth,
Mm,
and then your children yelling because they need you at this program and that program, and they want you to sign this paper. Then your husband like what you did, what you cooked for dinner, and then your boss emailing you all day. Listen,
child.
listen. Let me tell you something. When you feeling like that,
Mhm.
guess what? It's time for you to kick your feet up. I don't care if it's
Exactly.
one day. I don't care if it's 1 hour. I don't care if it's 10 minutes.
Right.
Take care of yourself. And I want to know, we got some people in the comments. I'm sitting up here misspelling stuff because I'm talking and typing. But tell me, what do you ladies do? What do you do to care for yourself? Let's give each other ideas of things
Mhm.
that you can do. One of the things that I find that is therapeutic for me is I'm a talker.
Yes, you are.
Oh my God. Let me tell you.
I used to dodge you.
Girl,
I don't dodge you now because I know I
because
will
I
hear
told her
it.
about herself,
Yeah,
y'all.
I
I
will
told her
hear it.
about
But I
herself.
would be like, oh, because I my mind, I can't. It's like I think I had like ADHD or something, adult like or whatever, because I really can't hold on as long. But I'm getting there. I think I'm good now. Like when we have conversations.
You are good. And I told her, I was like, she was sharing with me, about people confiding or whatever. And I was just like, sometimes you have to listen to others. It may not even be something you want to listen to, but it's just as well as you can talk to someone, you can listen to someone. I'm the type
Yeah.
of person, people call me all the time
Hmm.
to talk about things. Random people talk to me about things. I think that I'm a good listener, but
Hmm.
I tell you, if people really know, they know you see, okay, they're gonna know when I'm going through a crisis. I got my select few people. You're gonna hear about it. If you in my real circle, you done heard
Hmm.
about something. Because that
Yeah.
is therapy to me. But just as well as I will talk to you, I want to be here for you too if you have something. So Aya knows if I call her, I may talk blah 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 blah. I'm with this and that and the third, and then I'm gonna give a whole segment dedicated to her. How you feeling? What's going on with you?
Right.
And most of the time, she's like, "I'm fine." I'm like, "Girl, come on now, tell me what's going on." And she don't want to talk,
Oh
but
my
I'll make her
god.
talk. So I mean, but if you're not a talker, write it down. Write it down.
Yeah, definitely. Like I'm a writer. I like writing it. And I was. It's so funny, right? Because earlier today, I'm cleaning out my room because I'm running out of space. So I'm going through a bag that I never had unpacked, and it had my book of poems in there. And I was like, "Oh shoot, I can't." These is poems. Now some of them are so super cringy because I wrote these between like when I was in my teens and like early 20s. But nonetheless, I'm finding them, and I'm sat on the bed for a good hour, and I'm just reading through them. But I used to write down everything, and it's so funny because even though it was poetry, there like I always wrote them in a way that they was very descriptive, so I knew who I was freaking writing about, like going through these things. It was like going through your darn little black book history, like, oh yeah, I remember this, like
I
it was
never
funny because
knew you used to write poetry like
I write
that.
down everything. So yeah, I found that today, and I thought it was a hilarious moment for me today because I knew exactly who I was talking about.
You know what I find is good too? Like when you going through something or you're happy or whatever, and you write it down, and like a year later you read it and you're like,
um,
wow,
mhm.
I got
You
through
know,
that.
I do that on Facebook now because you know you can write like things and then you can make it private. So
Mhm.
that when your memories come up and it be like a year ago today, whatever. Sometimes them
Mhm.
memories be like, "Child, why y'all show me this?" But I do that on Facebook sometimes, from time to time. Like if it's a goal or and I want to save it to memorize it, and if it's an idea or a list, I just write it, type it out real quick, put it to private, and I post it.
Okay, so I'm thinking about self discovery, right? I remember we had this conversation, I and we were like dating yourself.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's okay to date yourself. I did it. It was amazing.
You have so many things to do in Atlanta, though. Like if I was there, I would not mind dating myself. I would go so many places. I miss going to the Boogaloo. That used to be our stomping grounds. Like I used to love going to the Boogaloo. What is that? Jimmy Crickets. I used to love going
Yeah,
there.
crickets or something like
JI,
that.
yes,
Yeah.
I used to love going there because them people be getting down up in there. There's a lot of
Well,
places that I used to love going.
it's a lot of places you can go, but these days you got to be safe, ladies. I'm just saying because it's kind of crazy out here right now. It's a lot going on, but I would say that I have no problem going to a restaurant by myself. I know I have friends who, they'll go to the movies. And yes, yes, poetry. We got somebody that they love poetry and journal. Well, I tell you, when you write it down, nobody will ever know your business. That's just
No,
between you and
exactly.
that piece of paper. You could tell
And
that
you get
paper
to get it out.
everything.
You get to purge it out and you feel so much better after you purge.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
And I just feel like, when you date yourself, it can be fun. It can be a really liberating experience. Like, I have a couple places that I can frequent by myself.
Mm,
I know people that work there. I'll be fine. And then usually I'll start a conversation or blah, blah,
yeah,
blah, talk to somebody. But I think that's a good thing, like, especially if you like movies, you go to a movie by yourself, you
mhm.
can watch whatever you want. There will be no protest about what kind of movie you want to see because it's just
Right,
you.
that's the good part.
You can go eat at a restaurant. If you feel like you're lonely, go sit at the bar. The bar is for people by themselves.
I think it'll have to be like a swanky little bar. I can't go to no hood bar
No, I
and do
mean in
that.
a restaurant, they have
Oh,
the bar.
go sit at the restaurant bar. Oh, I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah, that one
restaurant
I could
bar.
do. I could go to the restaurant and just sit cop a squat at the bar.
Yeah, exactly. Eat the bartender will talk to you. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
just telling you. Um, then what are other things you can do to date yourself? Of course you can go get you a massage now. Ooh, I
Hmm.
mean, I'm due for one of those, by the way. Um, what else can you do? What are some ideas we give these ladies about dating yourself
I don't
for
know because
self-care?
where I'm from, we ain't as busy as where you from. We ain't got that much stuff to do out here. But you know what I like to do because I'm a loner anyways. I like going to to the spa, going to get my nails done, thing type of thing. Just this past weekend, I went and got a facial, and then I booked my next appointment for a month out, so I'll be in there frequently.
Mhm.
Um, I like going to. I'll go to like the little winery place. It's this place past the fairgrounds. I'll go sit in there because it's like a nice, like they got like a little bar set up there, right there. You just pay your little fee, and then you go pick your bottles that you want, and they tell you about the like. So that's cool. I can go there. Um,
Okay.
to the movies, but what movies is out? Like, there's not any, haven't been anything out that's interesting to me.
I
So yeah, I go
mean,
to the movies.
I haven't been to the movies in so long. Personally, I'm a Netflix and chill binge watcher on the couch, like watching Netflix series or whatever, or Hulu series and different things like that. Like I enjoy doing that. The movies I haven't been in a while. I took my kids. I think it was a superhero movie, the last one we went to, but I haven't went to the movies. But I mean, I don't know. Go see a chick flick. Go see a chick flick. The one that the guy would never want to come with you with and go see. I go see that. Yes, nature journal. I was gonna yes, that is so nice. Going into nature, journaling, traveling, being by the water. I was just gonna say, go to the park,
Mm-hmm.
with your journal,
Yeah,
with your earpods on, and just zone out.
that
Okay.
would be nice, actually. Yeah, I mean, I did used to go to the parks and do nice, like go walks through the park. I like having my bare feet in the grass and doing some grounding and
Hmm.
traveling. Yes, how did I miss traveling? If you can travel, travel. My mom
Yeah.
even told me she's like, I'm taking me a little solo trip, but she's staying close by, so it'll probably be
Okay.
local or somewhere close by. But yeah, go traveling
Uh,
if you can. That's
I
nice.
hate driving, but I hear some people say they love driving.
Oh,
It
long
like
drives.
clears their mind, a road trip.
Yeah,
That's
I
not
mean, if
me.
I had
But if
like a
that's you,
route, yeah, that's like if I had a route, and I think you can like find driving routes like that have like scenic views of our country or whatever online, and you just drive that route. Well, I guess you would have to stay at the destination, at your ending destination of the route. But yeah, that'll be nice.
hmm of course, the regular things like go get your hair done,
Mm.
stuff like that. Um, if you enjoy, some people find therapy in cooking. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying?
that's
I
not me.
mean,
Mm-mm.
I'm just saying, I'm just trying to throw everything out. If cooking is your therapy and you turn on
Or you
music,
know what we could all do, that's a solo event, dating yourself, but you would still probably have fun because it'll be like group. You can do like one of those paint and sip things.
I love.
Yeah, go
Don't
to a
get
little
me
paint.
started.
Like go on their
That is my
website.
favorite.
Oh, it's a class at this time. Boom, show up there with your bottle of wine.
Those are so easy because you can go there by yourself. Like you'll make
Yeah,
friends in there. They'll talk to you. You'll have a great time. I love paint and sip. So listen, have your girls' day out. Okay, that's therapy for me. I love that. I have some friends here. We try to schedule times to go out, in our busy schedules, and I love that. We usually end up eating and then we're sitting there until nighttime, and then I'm like, "Oh gosh, I got to go." But
yeah,
it
eating and a good chat.
I love to do that. Um there's so many things you can do for self-care. Like I
Mhm.
don't care if it is just sitting on your porch, if that's what you
Mm,
love to do. Okay.
that would be nice if it was ever nice up here. We just got hit with snow.
Well,
It was just
there in New
snowing.
York, y'all gonna have y'all 2 months in a minute. Y'all
And I
have
was
y'all
just
two
like,
months,
that's crazy.
and
But
everybody will
back
be
to
outside.
okay, yeah, so the important thing is to reacquaint yourself with yourself, especially once we enter into adulthood. I feel like, because especially for me, I entered into adulthood young. Like I had kids, I had my first daughter when I was 18. I was about to say when she was 18. When I was 18. And then so like it's like I'm just in that mode of survival, being a mom. I gotta pay these bills, take care of this baby. I gotta go get a job. I don't have really time to get to know what what I don't like, what I need, what I require. I ain't have time to do all that stuff, like basic stuff. Oh, I like Italian food. That's my favorite food to eat. Oh, this is my favorite color. That's my favorite music artist. But in depth stuff about me, no, like I didn't get a chance to really dig into myself until the kids got kind of older and they didn't need me as much. And it was like, oh, we don't need her no more. Like, so okay, they could fend for themselves. And then I kind of had time to be able to like, oh, okay, let me figure myself out because I kind of been in this daze taking care of y'all for so long. So now I'm really past that mark and I know those things. And so it's just nice to know those things and to know yourself, to finally be able to say, I know myself. A lot of people don't know, like we feel lost, or you ever see some young kids or the younger adults and they be like, I feel like, I'm not where I'm at, where I should be in life. I'm kind of lost. I'm just floating around. They don't know themselves yet. And now I feel like I'm really into the thick of that. And it's still more self discovery work to do. Like, it's still stuff that I want to go out there and do now that I do know this is what I like to do. This is my jam over here. And like, so I really try to dig into those things that I like.
And I just think that, with self discovery, you have to have self forgiveness. You know, You have to forgive yourself too for maybe things that you feel like you could have done better in your life, or places that you wish you would have been now in life, or for mistakes that you have made in your life. Part of self-discovery is forgiving yourself and knowing that no matter what you have been through or the lessons that you have had to learn in your life, that they everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, and you use those things to learn from.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, some people continue to make the same mistakes over and over again, and I feel that those are the people who have never sat down and took a deep look at themselves. Accept the good and the bad and everything in
Mm-hmm.
between about yourself, and
Right.
realize that you are better for whatever experiences that you have had in your life, good, bad, or indifferent.
Right. And that is a word, self forgiveness. Cause for that's what it be. Like a lot of times when I see, and you see it all the time online, and I see people so hurt or so angry, and they're doing it online. Like, I mean, y'all are doing what we're telling you to do, but you're doing it online. You just don't know that you're doing it. But I see them so hurt or so angry, and they're posting these things, and they're releasing their frustrations and all this stuff. And it's like a lot of times I just look at that and I just be like, they need to forgive themselves. Like it'd be more about you than about the other people involved. Like mad at your kid's father. It's, oh, I can't stand his mother. You can't stand the choice that you made. You can't stand that you had a kid with that person, that you chose that person. You probably knew the red flags because I know I seen all the goddamn, I seen the flags. I just was
Love
like,
is
let me put these flags
blind.
down to make them work. Let me tuck it away. So I got to eat that, and not to negate what they did, but I have to also take responsibility. It's called accountability. There you go. You have to start. You have to take accountability for the mess, for your part of the mess. In whatever situation it is, friend, family, foe, life circumstances, because we've made choices for our lives that determine the path that we all go down.
Mhm.
And I try to tell my kids that all the time, even though y'all young, y'all don't see it now, because when I was young, I didn't get it. I didn't see it. I didn't see the bigger picture. Like the choices that you make, I think my mom used to tell me that the choices that you make today is going to affect you later on in life. And that is
Tomorrow.
so true. It
Hmm.
trickles down. It's a trickle down effect. It's going to hit you. And you need to take accountability for the shit show or whatever it is that you ain't forgive yourself for. You got to eat that. Take accountability for it and move on. Don't beat yourself up, like you said. Don't beat yourself up, because we all made. We all did stuff, or fucked our own selves over, or why I do that, or made some dumb choice. Why I make that decision? Okay, I made it. It's made. There's no sense in you abusing yourself and not forgiving yourself over and over and over again. Just accept it, forgive, and move on.
Hmm. And also, when you forgive yourself for the choices that you have made, it is also in your best interest to forgive others for the things that they have done to you. Because the forgiveness is not for the other person, it is for you to have peace within yourself. And I feel like that is also something that is festering inside of us women
Mm-hmm.
today, you
Mm-hmm.
know, just angry and bitter over. And you was done wrong. I'm
Right.
sure you was done wrong. I'm sure everything was just so messed up. But guess what? They are still living their lives regardless of how you feel.
Girl, I was just having this conversation. I was just having this conversation. Yes, they are sleeping excellent at night. You know how people used to always say that they sleep good at night. They sleep, and that it never used to hit me, that
Some of
part.
the
Forgiving other
most horrible
people, because
people
like I
sleep
said,
so good.
I was like a really vengeful. Like I just want them to hurt. Like I hurt. I just want to hurt them. But you know what? Why? because they don't care. They do not care. I
Nope.
promise you. They are sleeping. They getting their beauty sleep. They eating good. They living their life because they don't care. They moved on
Mhm.
away from it because they're not the ones affected. You are. So yeah,
Right.
forgive them so that you could set yourself free.
So you can sleep. So you can have peace. It don't have nothing to do with them because
Hmm.
they could care less if you forgive them or not. But when
Right.
you, but that's part of self discovery, discovering that you need to forgive someone to release yourself out of that prison of self despair and anger and wanting revenge. Because you know what? The best revenge
Mhm.
you can get on anybody is to do better
Girl,
than that
yes.
person.
Child, to live
To
good, to
look
live
like you're doing
good,
good without them.
to be a testimony. Child.
Yes, that's what it is. And so that's also part of self discovery and self healing. And I think that that's something that this is a real conversation for Black women tonight because you know what? This is something that we just don't do. Like we just don't take care of ourselves. We don't love ourselves enough. We always searching for love in a man or something we
Outside
didn't have
things.
outside of ourselves. But we're not realizing that maybe it's up to us to teach everybody how to love by showing how we can love and respect ourselves to the best of our ability so that we can spread this to our children so that they will know how to love themselves. And it's nothing selfish about it, but I will tell you, society will make you feel like you're the most selfish person in the world if you want to do something for yourself,
Oh, don't, especially as a female. Oh, oh
especially.
God, what? Don't
Mm-hmm.
let us want to do something. Don't let us have aspirations or dreams or want to do something for ourselves. Or I'm about to do this. Or you know what? You not good enough for me. Or you not fit. Child, you all types of selfish.
Mm-hmm. And I would say that one of the things that is not healthy sometimes is to suffer in silence.
Mm,
Um, and I know it's a lot of us who are suffering in silence because sometimes some of the things that you're going through are so horrible that you just can't bring yourself to tell anybody else,
yeah.
you know? And for those women that are living with that, I really have a lot of compassion for you because that is a really lonely life to live when you have to suffer in silence about things that are, just have you in turmoil.
Right. Living with that shame.
Yeah,
That'll
sure.
just eat you up. Living with that shame and just eating your pains and stuffing them down and being okay with being not okay.
Hmm.
Hmm.
It causes very reckless behavior in a lot of women, and it can truly be self-sabotaging when you are not discovering yourself and loving yourself and taking time out to have self-care. So, and people start to medicate themselves with addictions and drugs and alcohol and things like that, when if only they were able to find a way to discover themselves and heal themselves, then maybe they would be able to overcome some of the darkness and the demons that plague them every day.
Right. Or not only that, it's just debilitating. Even if you don't even turn to those vices, you could just be someone that's lashing out all the time, or just like depression,
Or
stress.
completely consumed with religion because you're trying to wipe it all away.
Girl, those yeah, I think yeah, we talked about that before. Like the ones that just throw themselves into like the church and become fixated. That's also a drug, though. I think just like I was telling somebody how people who exercise. You ever seen those skinny girls and they don't need to be in the gym? I mean, go to the gym, yes, but when you're in there like every single hour of the day, why are you there? It's like it's an
Mm.
addiction. That can also be an addiction. Church, religion, throwing yourself into something, just fixating on other things to remove yourself from the situation at hand.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I feel like this is a very deep topic. This is something that we as Black women can benefit. I'm sure all women could benefit from it, but I mean, that this is Convos for Black
And we black.
women. So I'm saying, our sisters out there, what what is it gonna take for us to realize how important our role is? I mean, I think some of us realize that. However, I feel like some people just lose themselves so much in external vices and people that we are not serving our purpose as much as we can be sometimes,
Mm,
because
mm,
and then you wonder why, one of the things I will say, like being a mother, a Black mother, we try to do the best we can, but we all know that being a mother is a thankless job. Like, you're
mm-hmm.
not getting no trophy for it. There's no true manual on it. You just do the best that you truly can. And I know that, a lot of people feel as, their role as a mother is challenged, when they need to take care of themselves. But I just feel like if you take care of yourself, you would be a better mother for your children.
Yeah. Yeah. You cannot serve others with when your glass is half empty or barely full, I want to say.
Hmm. So let me see. What are the things that, one of the things that I can say is that one thing that I think is very unhealthy for us Black women, as well as our Black daughters and whatnot, is the external validation. External validation. What do I mean by that? I mean,
Yeah.
seeking external validation from social media, from the approval of parents, friends, relationships to feel complete.
Yeah.
It's giving us, unhealthy body image problems, especially young girls and stuff like that. I mean, I think that when you love yourself, you have to also love your flaws, or at least accept them. You don't have to love them, I mean, because who really loves their flaws? They wish they didn't have them, but no one is perfect. And I feel like we also need to realize that all these external things that are going on right now in the world does not validates who you are as a woman, and how
Mhm.
beautiful you are as a woman, and how successful or educated or smart you can be as a woman. But I feel like those external those external things are also affecting our self-discovery about who we are, because we're always trying to measure up to things that are not truly achievable.
Right. Or at least things that aren't achieve they not yours to achieve anyways or to obtain. But touching on external validation, one of the biggest things is seeking validation from the opposite sex, from the men, from the penis people, as I like to call them. Going
Girl.
out there to seek the validation of men
Would you?
is going to get you it's going to get you caught up every freaking time, because what happens is, and I can speak from we all probably can speak from experience, seeking validation from the opposite, from the others. Let's call them the others, right? Seeking validation from the others, right? What happens is now you're not honoring yourself anymore. You're doing what you need to do, or what you deem necessary in order to obtain one of them, or in order to catch one of their eye, or in order to keep him coming around, or keep him in the house, or still be with this person. Like, you're doing things and you're acting in a way that's not serving you, it's serving somebody else. And sometimes you don't even want to do these things, going against other women, being catty, fighting, whatever it may be, you're wearing your hair a certain way, or oh, you got to lose weight because he don't like your body type here, you too this or you too that, or you don't want his eyes on somebody else, and so you doing whatever you can. We call these girls a certain name. I don't really like calling us ladies these things, but seeking validation from others, from the penis people, is not going to get us anywhere, especially when it comes to self discovery. Because personally, and what I can tell you and what I know, is once you start to honor yourself, that's going to leave little room and give a fuck when it comes to them and what you are willing to accept and put up with. That's also ties into a part of our self worth and our self esteem, because we'll accept the bottom of the barrel when we ourselves feel like that's where we at, or we not honoring ourselves, or we don't feel like we worth the. So we'll accept whatever comes our way. But once you start honoring who you are, loving yourself, discovering who you are, honoring those things, dating yourself, knowing what you want for you, not living for others and seeking that external validation, you will be less tolerant to put up with or accept certain things, which will allow you to make better choices when it comes to those people.
Yeah, it will be because you would love yourself more. You would have
Mhm.
certain standards and you wouldn't be willing to just, bow down to whatever someone else wants and do whatever they want to get them. Because sometimes, no matter what you do, sweetie,
Yeah,
he still ain't gonna be that man that you want him to be.
child, you could do whatever. You could do whatever.
You could be the best woman in the world, so beautiful, so intelligent, so successful, so loving, and someone could still find something wrong with you and just, and, but it is not you. It's not you.
And we all been there before where I like to always use when we're honoring ourselves or dishonoring ourselves, we all been there before where we did something, even if it's not for them or it could just be for anybody, and you dishonored yourself and you know it because it's just this sickening feeling. It's like somebody made an ask of you or a request from you, or even if they didn't, you took it upon yourself to do something for someone that you really didn't want to do. You knew that by doing that, that's going against your beliefs or what you're comfortable with or what
Your
you want,
boundaries.
your boundaries, right? Because we're not, at this point, we have none. So you're doing things that's not honoring your boundaries and being respectful to you. That is such a sickening feeling to have to eat that. And I've been there before where it's just like my boundaries are being crossed and I'm feeling disrespected, and yet I'm continuing to still do these things, and you slowly it's chipping away and eating away. We got
Yeah.
to stop doing that so that we can start doing what we need to do for ourselves.
Oh, girl, that's deep what you just said right there. That's deep. When you discover it within yourself that you have these certain boundaries and you have let somebody talk you out of your boundaries, and then you're like, and then you did all of that for them,
Mm,
and they still don't give you what you're seeking. It is a very sickening feeling. It's a very hurtful feeling. And now you got to live with that decision.
right.
So it's a lesson learned. We've all been there. I think every woman has probably been there. And we've all been guilty of loving someone more than they loved us.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that in those situations, you just try to do better and hope that you get out of that situation unscathed. That's all I can say. One of the things that I was reading this article about self discovery, and one thing that interests me, it was a couple of things that interest me. One was like this question that they said you could ask yourself, like, If
Hmm.
I lost all of my material possessions, would I lose my identity?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, I was like,
Who are
oh.
you without those things?
I mean, that's hard because I know one of the things that I really am scared of
Hmm.
is losing all my stability, losing everything.
But yeah, that's like
Rock bottom.
rock bottom is my fear too. It's like because you can always it's all it takes is that one chip to fall. Like that one chip to
Anything.
fall and you there. That's a big fear. I feel like that's a legitimate fear to have.
Mhm. Think about someone who had a wonderful career, house, car, this, and that. Something happened. I don't know. Anything could have happened. They found
Mhm.
themselves in a situation. 1 second, bam, they found themselves in a crazy situation, whatever. It led to them losing everything. They are no longer that person at that job. They're no longer that pillar in whatever community they were. They're no longer have anything.
Status is gone.
Gone. Would you lose your whole identity? I just think that one of the main things that you can do as a person is do not get yourself so consumed in material possessions because life is tricky.
Hmm. You got to be able to know. You got to be able to stand. You got to know who you are. That's a good question. Wherever, whatever article that was, you got to know, be able to know who you are and what you stand on. If all of this is out the window,
Yes. Do your material possessions define you? Because though that because if it does, that's a scary situation. Those are the type of people who find themselves in total despair and don't even want to live anymore because their material possessions
or are
define them.
they holding on to bad situations? I can see those being a lot of female stories where they're in these relationships. They might be miserable. It's an abusive relationship, but because he's providing and y'all have this
Mhm.
certain lifestyle, you
Lifestyle.
are putting up
You
like
just
you're
you just gonna put
like
up with.
yeah, you
He
putting up
cheating,
with
doing
it.
all types of stuff, putting your life at risk. You don't, but you just staying
You stay it.
because you have this lifestyle. So that's a self-discovery question. Do your material possessions define you? And what would you do if you had nothing tomorrow?
Right. We done
I
went into
mean,
all types of segues in different areas of this conversation.
but I mean, it's all self-discovery.
Yeah,
It's
it
real deep
is.
questions you need to ask yourself.
It is all self discovery. I just feel like this is a forever journey. And one thing that we always touch on, like I feel like we touch on this kind of all the time when we talk, is like some people will never have that breakthrough. And that makes me feel so sad for them. And or when I see somebody who is starting to break through, I feel so happy for them because it's just like so exciting. That's just like, you know what I used to always love, like new moms, new mothers. When you're new to motherhood and like the elation and like how happy she is and just like I love seeing that. I love seeing new moms because it's like this new chapter and they're so happy and they
It's like
finally understand,
intoxicating.
right? They
Mhm.
finally understand this is what y'all been talking about. This like cuz nothing compares to life, to you giving life, having life, and then seeing the life that you created. But like nothing compares to that, right? So
It's
I love
amazing.
seeing new motherhood, new mothers, and it's kind of the same thing when I see people and I see like they kind of on this journey and they're figuring things out for themselves and I see them having these moments and starting to have these new ideals and like that's exciting to me to watch. But just like when I see when people for the first time and they travel even and I'm like seeing new places and like this is the first time they've been out the country. They so excited. I love seeing stuff like that because it's so important for us to grow. I just like watching growth in people enter into new chapters. So I
And
feel
even
like, self-discovery, it's a never-ending quest because as we grow older, we change. Like I feel like I'm in a new current wave of change, if you will. Like cuz you can kind of feel when you entering into another phase, I want to say,
Mhm.
of
Yes, you
life.
can. Mhm.
Like I've been in this chapter and then I went through this chapter. I went through my breakthrough chapter, and like that healing work is nothing to play around with. You be all types of, oh, you be all type of, you be a mess. I went through that where I was just in the dark doing the work, crying and all this type of stuff and writing stuff in the journal. And I've been through that. And then I went through this phase where now I'm in like kind of a happy vibe place because, I'm content right now. And now I kind of feel like I'm starting to etch upon another journey, especially with us doing this podcast and other things and me starting to use my voice more to speak. That's a new chapter, so I'm also still excited about my evolution.
I agree. I feel like I am in a totally different chapter in my life. Um, I would say that change is not always pleasant.
Mm, mm,
Um, and sometimes to evolve, you have to go through some pain, some growing pains. To grow, you have to go through some growing pains. Um, I feel as if this chapter in my life is not triumph without troubles. However, I feel that, in spite of it, I definitely had to put armor on myself.
mm,
And I was talking to my mother last night, and she was like, you know what, baby, you a grown woman now.
mm. You grown.
She said, you a grown woman now. You know, when your mother tell you that, she like, yeah, now you know, honey. Now you know what it's like to be this woman out here. And when she said that, I feel like I could feel like all the way down to the depths of my soul.
Yeah, that's deep. That's like now you know. Like yeah, that wow. That's
And
heavy.
yes, it was my mother. However, it felt like woman to woman telling you like you just crossed some hot rocks
Mm-hmm.
into this other side of life, and unfortunately, it wasn't without, troubles, but I definitely appreciate my womanhood a lot more now. I feel like I'm still doing a lot of growing, and I'm still discovering myself every day, which everyone is. This is a lifelong learning process.
Mm-hmm.
Like every phase in life, like we're in our late 30s now. Like you look back to the 20s, you're like, oh my gosh, girl, you knew nothing.
I'm horrified.
And I'm sure when we hit 40, we're gonna be like, oh
Yeah,
girl, you knew nothing in
right.
your 30s. And then when we hit 50, we'll be like, oh gosh, what was I thinking when I was 40? And I mean it's just learning and growing and taking the salt with the sugar and in the open wounds and just persevering and never giving up, because life is not, you know what, how can, this is what I was reading one day, how when you're into self-discovery, and I'm talking with my
Mhm.
hands now because I'm really getting deep because it's something that touches me. How would you know what sunshine felt like if you never saw darkness?
Mm, mhm, mhm,
How would you know how sweet sugar is if you never tasted bitterness? You know what I'm saying? Those are the things you got to think about. How would you know pleasure if you never felt pain?
mhm. That's definitely the beauty of the
Mm,
journey.
yes. It's not always going to be easy.
Mhm.
But when I was looking at this other article, there's one more thing that I want to bring up, and it is really deep. And I was gonna wait till the end, but I think that is something that we could talk about while we here on the podcast live. And it made me think, and it's actually like a very scary thought to even think about. But when I was looking at this, I was like, wow, that's a really deep question. It was like, if I were to die today, would I be proud of who I have been and what I chose to pursue in life? That's scary, huh?
It is, but you know what? I think I'm gonna have to pull my zodiac cards now because I feel like, first of all, my planet is, I'm ruled by Neptune, and Neptune owns like the darkness, like the dark. It's a dark, mysterious, like Grim Reaper type of planet, right? But being a Pisces, I feel like when I always say like we're kind of very similar to our opposites, which are the Virgos. Very analytical, very chasing perfection. But in a sense, we also chase that same perfection, if you will. It's just that we don't chase it to be perfect on the outside. Like, I don't, the exterior, like, and what people, the image I put out and what people think, I really don't care. But we chase it in a way when it comes to the inside. Like, we try to be the best version of a human, if you will, a human being that we can be. Like, that's our version of chasing perfection. We want to be the best human. So I feel like for me, I could say, yeah, like if I die, I feel like I would have put a great effort and a great fight in being the best person and doing all that I could do on this earth, that I would, yeah, I could go satisfied.
I would say that if I was to die today, I'm proud of the person that I am and the person that I became in spite of my circumstances,
Hmm.
even from my childhood. And I think that there will be a lot of people who would say, Lakia, she was a wonderful friend. She did the best she could for her kids.
Hmm.
She was a good family member that looked out for her family members to the end, and that she went through a lot in her life and she did the best she could with the circumstances she was dealt. And so I would say I would be proud of the person that I have become up until this point in my life. God's willing, I will live a long life, but I'm just saying, like, that's something that you need to think about. Think about think about that. Because if the answer for you is no, then what you need to do to change that?
You're
It ain't
right. You
about how
got
much
work to
money.
do. Yeah. Those are good questions to make people think, because if the answer is no, like you said, it would mean that you have work to do, even if it's no because I was unhappy, or because I didn't really do what I wanted to do with my life, or I didn't really do the things that made me happy. Then that would mean you still have time to do those things. So don't fret, you have time to do those things and work those things out. And it would mean, like you said, you have work to do.
And could you imagine how many people have died feeling that way? Feeling
Right.
like they didn't get to do everything they wanted to do, feeling like they were not at their best, feeling like they could have done things different. And I
Hmm.
mean, I think we all have those moments of the woulda, coulda, shouldas, but they're
Right.
not productive. They're not productive. The woulda, coulda, shouldas are not productive because you just need to know how you can move better for, in the future, you know,
Hmm.
and learn from the past. But you can't change the past, unfortunately.
So one of the last points I want to note, and it's a tip, the one of the last tips I want to note before we get out of here and go to our takeaway, is my last tip is something that I think we talked about, is if you are, new and fresh on this journey of self-discovery, and you like, I don't even know what I like, I don't know what I want. My best piece of advice that I can give is writing down your list. Writing down a list of what you want to do, what you think you might like, places you want to try. Just like doing a vision board, but write out a list of things. write out as much information and detail that list as much as you possibly can until you start checking things off that list and start, you can tweak it a little bit once you check things off and start learning things that you like and don't like and need and don't need or want. But write out your list and keep that list with you so that it can be a reminder. And like I said, do the list. If you're going to write the list, pursue the list, do the things that you wrote down on that list, your wants, your desires, your needs, your requirements. Do those things, and it will help you to discover who you are. I think, and this is a bad person to get advice from, but still, I was listening to something that Kevin Gates said. Kevin freaking Gates, girl. He's so crazy.
Mm.
And he was like, how he discovered who he was or his self, or, he was talking along those lines, is he sat himself down in a room and had a conversation with himself. Ask yourself what you like. Ask yourself what you don't like. Ask yourself about, like, anything that comes to mind. Have a conversation with yourself. So this is the same thing that that list is going to represent. You sit down with a piece of paper and you write out your list. And it might take you a while to think about these things. I have a list in, you know what, the journal, our Conversation for Black Women journal. And there's a page in here, there's a work page, and I'm still working on it. And it's okay, I landed on it, ironically. It says, I deserve a life full of luxury. These are the things that I most desire. There's several bullet points on here, and maybe I shouldn't have made so many because I'm having a hard time. But I have, let's see, one, two, three, four. I have 5 things written out right now. And I have one, two, three, four. Yeah, so I made 10 bullets. I have 5 more things that I need to list as the things that I most desire. And I have no clue what those other 5 things are that I'm going to write, that I'm going to fill it in with. I have no clue. It's to be continued. I have to work on it. So write down your list and then start doing those things on that list. And through you doing these things, you'll kind of start coming into discovering who a little bit more about yourself. We feel like we need to discover people and, have it, oh, I don't really know that person that well. Do you know yourself that well? Because it might surprise you that you don't really know yourself that well.
Right. And that's where that indecisive conflict comes in people
Mm,
when they don't know themselves. Because if you knew yourself, you could make a decision.
right.
Um, yeah, I like that. That's a really good idea. I'm gonna do that myself.
All right. And it is time for the takeaway for today.
Yes. Okay. So who doing it first?
So I'll go first. So I didn't even expect for this conversation to be this good. I feel like we got into a lot of things, right? This is probably one of our longest conversations that we had. But my takeaway, of anything for today that stands out, is you need to do the work. Self discovery also comes with healing, and you have to be willing to buckle down and do that work so that you can get to the root of who you are, so that you can be better. And also to honor yourself and set those boundaries. If something is within your boundaries, okay, cool. If something is outside of your boundaries and your requirements aren't being met, then you are full within your right to not want to do something or to say no, and be respectful and mindful of your boundaries. Don't do anything that you don't want to do, and continue to explore yourself some more and grow into the woman that you are truly supposed to be so that you can start living your purpose.
Well said. Ooh, huh? I gotta follow that. Okay. So my takeaway today from this is that self-discovery leads to self-reflection, self-awareness, self-love, and it is therapy within itself to know oneself. Know what you like. Know what you don't like. Know what fulfills you. Know what causes you joy. Know what causes you pain. And I'm a true believer with the boundaries and know when it's time to walk away from something that is not serving you. I think these all come with self-reflection. I think it's something that you need to do as often as you can. Don't forget to sit in your emotions. Don't forget to do that. Write them down or talk to someone or whatever you need to do to find peace within yourself. And don't forget to just pamper yourself because you deserve it. You deserve it. You work hard. You take care of your family, your children, all types of things, your jobs. So don't forget about you. And it's not selfish to do that. So I just want you to know that self love is the best love because if you don't love yourself, you can never fully love anyone else.
Mm-hmm. Shoot, if you don't love yourself, who the hell is gonna love you back, child?
Right.
That was a word, yeah. I mean, it's deep. And this was a really good conversation.
It was good. I love this.
I enjoyed it for myself. I got
Me
something
too.
out of this conversation for myself.
Me too.
I really did.
Well, listen, we love y'all. Please continue to like these videos. Please share them. Please
Hmm.
share them and subscribe. We want more women to join in on these conversations, to listen to them, to put their thoughts in the chat. And we are looking towards you guys to grow and help us grow because these conversations are therapeutic. I know it's late night. We do it because the kids are in the bed and we're all settled down from work. But listen, even if you can't join us live, you can watch it in the morning, share it with your coworkers. Please come on, help us grow this channel because these are things that we need for from each other and things that we don't often initiate in our everyday life. These conversations.
Definitely. All right, you guys. Well, that was the end of this topic. And if there's a topic that you want us to touch on, address, or that you want to join in on, because you can come on the panel, just leave a message in our comments section, or you can always email us at the email address listed. So we will see you next Tuesday at 10 p.m.
Bye.